Hey everyone, I'm excited to share and try a new approach to sketching using my favorite stuff, ink, watercolor, and colored pencils. So I hope you can draw with me today. This is the only reference that I could use freely of the house that we're sketching today, but if you visit the museum's website, which I'll leave a link in the description, you'll find beautiful photos with vibrant colors, so you can check those out before you paint your sketch. So here's how I think we should tackle this sketch today. No pencil and start with ink. Be super loose and dive in without overthinking. Draw what you see, and if you make a mistake here and there, just leave it. Think about it. This can go two ways. One, you're either happy with the result, or two, you don't like the mistakes you made, and then you can draw it again, because practicing will only get you closer to your goals. And it's also fun to do and see the progress. I've seen so many of my favorite artists on their Instagram stories from start to finish, and they're just drawing. They're just sketching. It doesn't seem like they're overthinking it, and I want to try that approach. So let's get started. Let's travel to Savannah, Georgia and sketch this gorgeous yet mysterious and some say haunted house. First, about Savannah, Georgia. It was founded in 1733 by General James Oglethorpe. It's the first planned city in the 13 American colonies. But let's fast forward to the American Revolution and Civil War. Union General William T. Sherman spared it from destruction during the Civil War by gifting it to President Abraham Lincoln in 1864. Savannah's preserved historic district with cobblestone streets and 18th and 19th century architecture reflects its rich history. Today, the city thrives as a charming blend of history and Southern hospitality. Speaking of charming, back to this house. It's called the Mercer-Williams House, and this is how it was named. General Hugh W. Mercer was the first owner, and James, aka Jim Williams, was the last owner and most significant or known figure to own it, thus Mercer-Williams. At first, I thought it was named with the first and last owners, but apparently the second name is basically the name of the most notorious owner. Jim Williams was the central figure in John Berendt's book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. This true story played a crucial role in Savannah during the latter half of the 20th century. I watched the movie and it was great. It was released in 1997, so it's a tad bit older, but I enjoyed it. Williams is mostly recognized by this controversial incident that I'm going to talk about in a few, but his most significant and noteworthy contributions were in the realm of historic preservation. His efforts have left a large footprint in Savannah, contributing to the city's reputation as a well-preserved and culturally rich destination. Williams wasn't just your average antiques dealer. He poured his heart into restoring the Mercer-Williams House. Now, let's get into the controversy. Williams' lavish lifestyle took a turn when 21-year-old Danny Hansford entered the picture. Danny was known to be a local hustler and had a turbulent relationship with Williams. It's unclear, but their relationship was described as Danny being more of a companion or friend rather than Jim's assistant, even though he worked in his antiques business. In the early hours of May 2nd, 1981, an argument erupted between them at the Mercer-Williams house. Williams claimed self-defense, stating that Danny entered his study with a gun, prompting Williams to shoot him. Williams was arrested and charged with murder. Over the next few years, 4 trials ensued, and he sought to clear his name. He was determined. In the first trial, 1982, he was convicted, but he appealed due to conflicting information in police reports. The guilty verdict was overturned, leading to a new trial. The second trial in 1983 resulted in another guilty verdict, later overturned on technicalities. The third trial in 1987 ended in a mistrial. Finally, in May 1989, almost 8 years after the initial conviction, Williams was acquitted of all charges. Now, the way they produced the movie, I think they just wrapped up all 4 trials into one trial. This chapter of Williams' life consumed him in the later years because only 8 months after clearing his name, he passed away suddenly in his study. John Berendt's book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, explores the mystery of Savannah's social scene and the unique personalities involved. The real-life drama has had a lasting impact on Savannah's cultural and historical narrative, and the Mercer-Williams House remains one of the most significant landmarks with a rich history. Now, let's talk about the hauntings. This house is known for reported ghostly activity, like apparitions, voices, and phantom footsteps. Even though it's open to the public, the current owner, Dorothy Williams, who is Jim's sister, isn't keen on the ghostly reputation or the association with midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, so she denies the spooky encounters. Since William's death, staff working in the house after hours claim to have seen his ghost walking the halls. Some believe that Danny's spirit lingered in the house over the years, and it's rumored that Williams, troubled by Danny's ghost, sought help from a voodoo practitioner to cleanse the house of his presence. Some skeptics argue that the cleansing didn't work, and they believe it was Danny's ghost who eventually caused Jim Williams' demise by scaring him to death. This theory gains traction considering Williams was found lifeless in almost the same spot where Danny had been fatally shot nearly a decade earlier. Just prior to Williams buying the house in 1969, a tragic incident occurred involving an 11-year-old boy named Tommy Downs. He fell from the roof of the house and suffered a fatal impact when he fell on the iron fence on the southern side of the property. The house was vacant at the time, and the children had entered without permission while chasing pigeons. While there's no concrete evidence to support the claim, there's speculation of the possibility that Tommy's death may not have been accidental and was caused by an act of violence. Tourists smitten by the beauty of the house have unknowingly caught more than just pictures. Some say they found unexpected guests in their photos, like ghostly figures that look like they're photobombing. While this doesn't happen a lot, several Mercer-Williams visitors have reported it. The most common spirit caught on camera looks like a little boy with blonde hair, and people who know the history of the house often link this ghost to Tommy Downs. And finally, Jim Williams' Christmas parties. Legend has it, on the night of Jim Williams' annual Christmas party, you'll see the chandeliers light, brightening the whole house. You might even catch glimpses of guests in the windows moving around from room to room. Some claim to spot women in elegant gowns and sharply dressed men arriving fashionably late for the festivities. This house is not only a historic gem in Savannah, but also one of the most powerfully haunted houses in Georgia. The place is filled with forces that can influence even the strongest minds. Once you step through the front door, your emotions might quickly slip out of your control. That is making me want to go there and check this out. Okay, let's change the mood with a couple of fun facts. So there are 3 individuals, namely the Lady Chablis, Emma Kelly, and Jerry Spence, who actually portray their own characters in the film. The character Danny Hansford, the shooting victim in the book, undergoes a name change to Billy Hansen. And in the film, he's depicted by the 24-year-old Jude Law. He looks super, super young. Okay, so I'm going to finish up here and hope you found this story interesting, and definitely tag me on Instagram if you sketched this house. All right, until the next video, stay positive, stay creative, and be kind.